Good morning, beautiful people. This is Dina coming to you on day 4 of the new year. I just have a word in my heart that I wanted to share with you. Hopefully this encourages somebody. I was sitting there getting ready this morning with anticipation because we're going to be spending the day, Christine and I are going to be spending the day doing some recording for our new podcast. And I had this excitement, like almost you're getting ready for a wedding or whatever. You've been preparing for so long and behind the scenes, and now the day is here and, we're about to do something really big. And I was just thinking back on all the seasons that God has brought me through. And I remember there was a time that I felt like I was drowning. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And I've shared a little bit of that with you guys already, but I was just thinking about that wilderness season and what that looks like. I remember in that time when I finally realized like I had to get something together. I could no longer go down this dark path. And I felt like I was connecting to God, but I felt like he wasn't there. So it felt like kind of like when you're in a cave and you just can't see and you're putting your hand against the wall, you're trying to find your way around, and you just feel like you don't know where you're going, so you're unstable. And in that time, I just remember just continually wanting to praise him, wanting to worship him. That was the time that I spent the most amount of time journaling, the most amount of time with worship music on, spending time in the Word, and just praising him in the storm. So it's weird because it's the time I also felt the most depressed and the most disconnected from everything around me. But it was the thing that kept me going. That was, I couldn't breathe without it. I felt like if I didn't spend time every single day in his presence, I would not even be able to take another step in the cave. And, again, some people call that the wilderness season. I call it a cave season, whatever it is, because for me, it was a dark season. I didn't feel like I was just walking along this desert with all this bright sunlight in the wilderness somewhere. I felt like I was trapped inside of a deep cave, and I couldn't find my way out. But what the word says is that you are never alone. God will never leave you or forsake you. He is always with you. And it says that he is closest to those that are brokenhearted, and he saves those that are crushed in spirit. It's the enemy that wants you to feel like you're alone. He's the one that wants you to feel like there's no way out, or that you're trapped, or that you're stuck in this situation. God is right there with you. And what I realized is that not only was he with me, he was actually holding my hand, but I couldn't feel his hand because my hand was trying to feel along the wall of the cave of, how am I going to get out of this? But if you've ever been in that situation, you feel like you're in the dark and then somebody turns on the light and you can see all around you, and there's actually people all around you, and God is right there with you, and he's in front of you, he's beside you, he's holding your hand. You didn't even realize it all along because you felt like you couldn't even see your way through. So in the season of the darkest times of my life was the time that I praised him and worshiped him the most. It was the time that I could not wait to get upstairs and spend time alone with him. Almost like we had this date every day. And although my life I felt like it was falling apart and I couldn't, get past the dark feeling, the heaviness that I was feeling, I looked forward to the time every single morning with God. Now, that season has changed, and I'm outside of that dark season, and I'm excited with the anticipation of what's coming now, especially with on the cusp of this new podcast and all these other things. I believe this year is definitely a year of new things, new beginnings. God is doing a new thing. But there's been a long season of preparation. It's no different than if you're training for a marathon. You train for a long time, and the bigger the marathon, the bigger the battle, the more the training. So it has been decades for me until I got to this point. But where I'm at in my walk with God now is that I still desire to spend every morning with him to start my day, just like I mentioned yesterday. If I don't, then my day kind of gets off kilter and I could tend to be emotional or moody or whatever. I know I need that time alone with him every morning. But it's like I'm walking side by side with him now. I know who I am. I know who he is. I feel safe. I feel like I am not in this state of fear, anxiety, and worry anymore. So my desire to spend time with him is still there, but it's not out of this desperation of, God, please save me. Please rescue me from this darkness, this pain that I'm feeling. Now it's like I'm excited to be on this journey with him. And so I'm hoping that whether it's through the podcast or my YouTube channel, especially Empowered Moms, or just whatever it is that, I hope that I can encourage somebody that is going through that just keep going. Do not give up. God is always with you. He's never not with you, even if though it might feel that way. If there's something big, and I assume there is, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this, because God, I believe, puts the right people together, and I pray that the right people will see this. But if he has placed a high calling on your life, there is going to be a deep season of trials. There's going to be a deep season of training, purification, all of that. Some of that is that he has to trust you. He needs to know that when things are good, are you going to leave him? Are you going to walk away from the thing that you needed so desperately just to take a breath every day? But when things start going well, are you able to handle the success of that? Are you still going to want his time and attention? And so I pray every day that God keeps me humble, and that I don't ever step outside of that, and that I will always desire him more than anything else that he's doing in my life. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I hope it encourages somebody. I'm super excited about today and what's coming up, and I will share more about that. Anyway, I just want you guys to have an awesome day, and just know that you're not alone. You're loved, you're cherished, not only by the creator of the universe, but by me as well. So love you. See you soon.